Here to discuss how we got here, we've got professor at George Washington University, Kyle Welch. Professor Welch, thank you so much for joining us again. All of this really just happening in the last couple of hours. The first thing I thought was, is this really a resignation? Is that just sort of what they're putting this out as, or do you think there's a whole lot of other stuff that's been going on behind the scenes?
Well, just to update everybody, if you can get somebody to resign as opposed to firing them, it's always a better situation for an organization. So any organization wants you to resign as opposed to having to fire you. And that's true for every org, not just universities, but any private public institution. They much prefer resignations. And this was a lot of pressure coming. As an alum, I got an email this morning, and I thought it kind of missed some marks as far as what it talked about. In the sense of problems, you don't have a presidency with more problems than this president. She had a horrible testimony in Congress. As a response to that, millions of dollars, legacy programs with other institutions, all pulled back from sending students there, doing trainings at the institution. And then on top of that, you have plagiarism. And any one of those things would be enough for somebody to step down. And there's multiple examples. There's Penn's president stepping down because of the testimony. There's Larry Summers stepping down because he made a comment based on data that was actual data that was wrong. There's the Stanford president because the Stanford Daily, a student newspaper, found a figure that was wrong. He stepped down. All of these things, she has just been carried in there. And there's been no criticism. And this was a long time coming. A lot of people see this coming. And one thing that was missed on this was the accusation that potentially that she was targeted in some way. No, when you're a president of a university, you always get scrutiny. That comes with the territory. And she's gotten more scrutiny. Maybe not, but it's for sure she's gotten more leniency than almost every other president, because every other president has been pushed to resign with just parts of this. She has the whole bouquet. She has all the problems.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it seemed like in a sense they sort of gave her a chance. I mean, this went on for a while. I was wondering, I mean, do you think that there's something else coming down the pipeline here? You know, there's been a series of reports about the plagiarism. Is something else possibly about to drop here that they're trying to get ahead of?
Here's the fundamental thing that's going to happen from this going forward is this actually reflects a significant governance problem at the institution. Your number one job as a board of directors across any organization is to hire and to fire the leader of the organization, and to do that swiftly when the signs are there. And it's very clear that this was a flubbed process. They had reports of this plagiarism way earlier than this. And instead of squashing it, they retaliated against the people that were bringing it up, saying they were going to take them to court, that they were going to sue their pants off, which is not how you respond to whistleblowers. When somebody brings up a problem, you say, okay, let's look into it. You don't do these type of things. So they have a significant governance issue. And the wrong approach for Harvard would be to end it here. The right approach is to say, okay, where did our governance fail in identifying this problem and in rectifying it? So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. What about the president of MIT, Sally Kornbluth? I mean, a lot of people are watching her now. There's already been tweets, 2 down, 1 to go. What do you think happens there?
Yeah, so there's some odd things happening on the campus of MIT. They actually have like racially divided housing, which you hear about and you're like, wait, what? And it seems very opposite from everything that we look up to Martin Luther King as far as an example of, being a melting pot of cultures and seeing the best in everybody. And they're instead having housing that's separated and all sorts of odd things happening. Unfortunately, in the sense of examination, she has not gotten as much press coverage because there just has not been as many like stumbles and trips and falls in this process. It's been rough.
Yeah, it seems like these Ivy League institutions, in a sense, have really been exposed. I mean, so many of us on the outside look at these schools and think, oh my gosh, like they've got it together. The president of Harvard must have it together. Then the plagiarism accusations. I mean, this could open up I know you're an alum, so I'm not, I'm not trying to disparage the university, but I think this sort of opens the door to people thinking like maybe there's a lot of other stuff going on at these places.
Well, I think there's a big failure on individuals to assume that that because somebody has, I mean, I'm in the business of providing credentials, right? But there's a big failure to assume just because someone has a credential that they have all the answers. And I think we have some of the best, we have the best institutions in the world of higher education in the United States. And so we hold them up to this very high standard. This is definitely revealing significant breaks and problems in these institutions that need to be fixed if these institutions want to last. They've existed for a long period of time. And if you do not change with, the way other things are changing, I mean, one of the biggest problems is we have huge high costs. And so now you have the factor that it looks like these organizations that are super expensive and like just over the top
Yeah.
also are super disconnected with humanity.
Seems like we're learning that in some ways. Kyle Welch, thank you so much. We really appreciate your help with helping us understand this. This news coming down in the last couple hours. We appreciate the time, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.